Welcome back to Two Witches Talking. I'm Megan. I'm here with Morgan, and it is November. Happy November, y'all. Hey, Morgan, how are you?
I'm good. How are you doing?
Good, thank you. So we are recording this like a week in advance, like we normally do, but yeah, autumn. A little post spooky season, still kind of spooky season as far as I'm concerned. And a great time to talk about today's topic, shadow working.
Yay!
So we did not prepare, at least I
No.
did not prepare anything beforehand. So we're just gonna like off the cuff talk about this. But we should definitely start with like what it is and why we want to do shadow working. So do you want to kick us off?
Yeah, so a lot of witches do shadow working during the dark season. A lot of witches do shadow working all the time.
Yep.
But the dark season makes it easier because for the majority of people, you're stuck in the house a lot more because of weather. The nights are longer than the days, so it just leans to or makes shadow working much more accessible. There we go. That's how to say that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it makes it easier because shadow working is diving down inside of yourself to identify shadows, which are repressed emotions, parts of you that you don't want the general public to see, like maybe limiting beliefs, bad habits, all of that. And they're things that you shove deep, deep, deep down inside into the crevices inside of you, and you say, shh, we're not going to talk about that. Okay?
Yep. Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah. So that's why the dark season is a really good time. A lot of people are hibernating, they're staying inside, and it's a really easy time to dive down inside of yourself and start to shine light on those shadows. And it is psychology based, yes?
It is. Yes.
I will allow you to take over because, yeah.
Yeah. So it's Charles Young or Charles Jung, however you want to say it. Carl or Carl. I'm sorry.
Okay,
I
yeah.
always want to call him Charles. I don't know why.
I don't know.
I'm like
Yeah.
anglicizing his name or whatever.
Yeah.
Carl Jung. And I even have it up on my screen over here. But he learned from Sigmund Freud, and I have long said that Sigmund Freud had some good ideas and had some really wacky ones. But the good ideas were then taken by other psychologists and psychoanalysts and all that, and then they morphed into other things. But Jung had this idea of the shadow self, and that these were parts of us that we repressed, that we kept buried, that we were ashamed to bring out. And in my experience, a lot of that is anything that makes us stand out from the quote unquote normal. And, over around here, I think we can both agree that normal is just a setting on the clothes washer, and that's about it. So, but society has different ideas about what is normal. And I think that in the year of Beyonce 2025, we are like beyond this, ooh, this is normal, this is acceptable.
Yeah.
But there are still these stories that kind of travel through families and friend groups and all that of how we're supposed to be. So shadow work really tackles those parts of our identity that, yeah, like you said, are buried and repressed and shoved down.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And I think it's very important for witches, especially, because we believe in the ability to manipulate energy for our will. That's what magic is manipulating energy for a specific intent or purpose. And the fun thing about shadows is they can manifest for you. So you can say all day long, I'm up for this promotion at work. I really want it. I'm really excited. But if you have that little voice in the back of your head or that little gut punch feeling that's like, oh, but this new promotion means more hours. And then like, this is going to happen. And then this is going to happen. And then a spiral occurs. Then that's what's going to manifest. It doesn't matter what you're saying, what you truly feel deep down can be what ends up manifesting for you. So that's why, especially for witches, getting to the bottom of all of that, the little voice in the back of your head, that little naysayer in you, coming to terms with it and pulling it to light, facing it, whatever, means that when you do finally decide, okay, this is an intention I have, and this is the magic that I want to perform in my life, it will manifest clearly because you don't have anything pulling it back into the shadows. Yeah.
Or even blocking it off. Like if you're trying to manifest abundance, but there is a shadow belief that like money is the root of all evil. Like I don't know how many of us grew up with that idea. Then that is going to just kind of cut that energy off at the pass. And like you're not going to be able to get around that. So you'll be doing your money work and your abundance spells and all of that. But there's this energy that is running counter to that within yourself. And that means that your magic is probably not going to work.
Yeah. Now, my husband actually said the words to me the other day, more money, more problems. Oh, and I'm like, oh, no. What are you doing, my dude? Because like he runs the business with me. So energetically, I don't have those blockages. Yeah. Like I'm like, yes, more money means more everything for everyone. Like great, amazing things. And so it's like every time I'm trying, it's like he is my shadow, like pulling stuff back. But yeah, he actually said to me the other day, he's like, Morgan, more money, more problems. And I'm like, oh, no, you need to stop that now.
No. Gotta uncross whatever that is.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. But I mean, and the thing is like, I think that a lot of us have these little quips that are just, they're so easy to remember. It's kind of like the whole sticks and stones may break my bones. Like that's a spell we didn't realize we were casting. And something like more money, more problems is a spell that you don't realize you're casting. Mm-hmm. And for those of us who practice witchcraft, we have the opportunity to say, wait a second, that's not what I should be saying. I should be saying something like more money, more freedom, more money, more opportunities, more, whatever, to counterbalance that. But you have to be willing to do the shadow work. And I think it's important too to talk a little bit about the fact that shadow work is not necessarily a hard drudge. Like, there's this idea that I have seen recently, because it is the dark season, that it's like we've got to like really put a lot of effort into it and a lot of time into it, and it's really hard, and you're going to confront all of your inner demons. And it's not. In my opinion, shadow work can be that way, but it can also just be like, wait, why do I say that phrase? Where did that come from? Where did, money is the root of all evil come from? Like, I specifically remember the first time I saw that was actually in a movie. It wasn't even something that like was in my family, but I heard it and saw it when I was a little girl. And so somewhere along the way, I kind of internalized that. So, you confront that and you say, wait, why is that a truth for me? And is it a truth for me? And you just kind of like work those muscles and get that stuff out of there. And then every time you catch yourself saying the same thing or something very similar, you're going to be building up that awareness to kind of unravel those knots and move forward. Like, it doesn't have to be this long drawn out dark night of the soul to do shadow work.
No, I agree. I completely agree. And the more you do shadow work, the easier it becomes. Even if it's just, like surface level shadows, being able to identify them, get to the root of them, and then integrate them, like that gets really easy. But even at least identifying the deeper ones, like you may not know how to heal it or how to work with it, but like I know a lot of my deep dark shadows, and I may not have faced them all, but at least I know that they're there and I've identified them. So I've at least been like, okay, that's a deep one down in there. but I like to think of, especially the surface ones, which are really easy. They're like stories you tell yourself. And so
Mm-hmm.
that's a really great way of like, when you start to think something that has the energy of pulling back, whether it's
Mm-hmm.
fear, anger, anything like that, that's going to be a pullback energy. So the minute that you identify something that makes your energy pull back, you just ask yourself, is this my story? Or like, was this my mother's story? Was this my grandmother's story? Like, do I truly actually even believe that? And sometimes if you're like, no, I don't, it just, that can be shadow working. And if you can release it, it really can be that easy with some of the surface level ones.
Yeah. Yeah. It's just gone sometimes. And
Yep.
what I love about the understanding, like you were saying, it gets easier, it gets faster to, identify those stories. And we take care of the more surface level ones. But if you know that the deeper ones are there, like that's something that you work on long term, or you take to your therapist, or you're just aware of like what triggers these stories so that they don't catch you off guard in the
Yes.
future. Right. And what I've found too, and I don't know if you found this, but as I have gotten much better at shadow work, because I've done a lot of it over the years, I find that like if I hurt somebody's feelings or if I misspeak or something and somebody calls me out, I'm just like, I apologize. You're right. I was wrong. Like it has taken away my defensiveness, which I think is really a cool place to be in.
Yeah, I
You
agree. Well,
too.
I think too, just stemming from that, a great way to easily identify shadows is, where are you easily offended?
Mm-hmm.
Or
Mm-hmm.
what, it has something happened and immediately you go into defense mode.
Right.
That's
Right.
like, things that are triggers are a great starting point for a lot of shadows, because
Yeah.
somebody can say something like, we can be talking and it's beautiful when we, especially like here in the office, when we have such an eclectic group of people, like somebody can make a statement and this person over here will be like, oh, whatever, and this person will be like, no, and then this person will be like, oh my god, I'm offended. Like,
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
it's like, if you are offended, it is, or not even offended, but if you're triggered, if it causes some kind of emotional response from you, like
Mm-hmm.
I hate to use the word negative emotional response, but what society has deemed as negative, like anger,
Yeah.
jealousy, you know, anything like that. But if it causes a huge one in you and it didn't with anybody else, then maybe it could be something where you're
Mm-hmm.
like, huh, why did that trigger me so much? Like,
Yeah.
why was I so upset about that when everyone else wasn't?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Yeah. And it takes an incredible amount of both presence and maturity to be able to say, why was
Yeah.
that triggering for me? So, if you're already doing that, kudos to you. And, it's like this is also something that's like we can't expect, you know, a 19-year-old or a 22-year-old who's like prefrontal cortex is not completely developed yet to hit this point. Because I don't know about you, but I started doing shadow work and without calling it that, probably in my late 20s, like 28, 29, right around that 30 mark. Because that's kind of when my awareness for the patterns around me started to emerge.
Yeah, I don't. Yeah, I would say it was probably, I mean, to be honest, it was probably more like 30 for me,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
30, early 30s, really,
Yeah.
but that is just because I went through an extremely self destructive phase at like 28,
Yeah.
28,
Well,
29.
the thing is I was divorced for the second time by the time I was 29. So I think for me, it was like a wake up call. I was like, I got to fix something. Like, I'm repeating patterns here. This is not going to work. So I understand.
No, and that's exactly what happened to
Yeah.
me, is like, after hitting rock bottom
Mm-hmm.
and then not no longer, because like when you're when you're in that destructive phase, nothing is ever your fault either.
Oh, no.
Oh no, this
Not
is
at
not
all.
my fault. This is this person's fault, this person's
Uh-huh.
fault,
Uh-huh.
society's fault. I don't, this is, my mother's fault, my dad's fault. Like, it doesn't
Mm-hmm.
matter. It's never your fault.
Right.
And then something happens, I think.
Mm-hmm.
And whether it's hitting rock bottom or you just hear something that makes you go, oh shit, I was the
Mm-hmm.
problem the whole time. Like,
Yep.
and it does not always. You know what I
Right.
mean? Yes,
Right.
shit happens to people
Mm-hmm.
100%. I'm not one of those people that believes that you attract everything good and bad that comes
Oh,
your
hell no.
way. No,
No.
I do not believe that. So I do believe that shit happens, you know?
Yeah.
But at some point, there are at least certain situations, I think, in your life where you can sit back and you just have this light bulb moment and you go, oh no, that was me. I did that. Oh
Uh-huh.
shit, I did that.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
that's what happened. So I just happened to be 30, I think, 30 or 31 when
Yeah.
that happened. And then, yeah, you sit there and you go, oh, I should,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, no, I totally see how I got here.
Yep. Yep.
Yeah,
Yeah. Same. Same, same.
yeah.
So yeah, kind of putting it in a magical context, we talked a lot about these stories getting in the way of spell work.
Hmm.
I feel like there's something else we can add here, but I'm not sure what. It's not that crazy. I'm like, there's something else that I wanted to mention, but I can't remember what.
Oh, it
But
took
yeah,
us off tangent. It took us way off
it's
into somewhere.
okay. I love it. I love it. But yeah, I love that. I also, I'm a big fan of shadow work, if I'm being completely honest, because I feel like when we're able to be more honest with ourselves, we're able to show up more authentically, and we can take things like the word weird, hello, Aquarians, right?
Yes.
For us, weird is a positive thing, but to the
Yep.
world, like weird is sometimes a negative thing. And so one of the things we did when my son was younger, like be like, you're so weird, was totally a compliment in our household. It's like, oh, that's so weird. And I didn't even realize that other people might perceive that in a different way until like I was with somebody and I can't remember who, but it was an older woman. It's not somebody I was related to. She was like, oh, well, no, 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 he's not weird. I'm like, yeah, he is, and it's awesome. And like she was like, no, 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 it's fine. Like there's room for everybody. I'm like, of course there is. Even the weird people. It's great. And it had become a phrase and a concept that was so denatured from its previous negative connotation that I couldn't even see where the disconnect was. And I had a hard time understanding why she was making such a big deal about it because it was positive. And we can do that with any part of our shadow work, which I think is really cool.
Yeah, that
Love it.
was so we've talked in the past about like Pee-wee's Playhouse seriously
Yeah.
like made me who I was, and now watching it back as an adult, there's a lot of times where other characters will look at Pee-wee and they'll go, Pee-wee, you're so weird. And he'll go,
Mm-hmm.
thank you.
Uh-huh.
And I did that in the
Yeah.
90s. Like in the 90s, being weird, like
Mm-hmm.
late 80s, early 90s, that was it. Other kids would use it as a bullying phrase. Like they would look
Mm-hmm.
at you and be like, oh my God, you're so weird. And
Mm-hmm.
people would cry, And
Yeah.
meanwhile, I would be told that and I would be like, thank you, because Pee Wee Herman had taught me that being weird was
Yes.
perfectly fine.
I love that. Pee Wee Herman, our shadow working king.
I love that. Yeah.
That's amazing. I love it. Well, so one of the reasons we're talking about this today is that we are actually working on a shadow working workshop and we're still hammering out the details, but we can tease the dates.
Mhm.
They're coming right up. So we're actually going to be doing it over 3 days, like we did with our Black Moon workshop at I guess, the end of last year, beginning of this year. And so it's going to be Friday, the 21st of November through Sunday, the 23rd. So I think the way it's going to go is Friday is going to be Morgan and
Yes.
Saturday is going to be me. And then Sunday is actually going to be a live Zoom get together workshop ritual hangout space. So keep an
Hey.
eye on announcements on all of our accounts for that coming up.
Yep.
Yeah, it's going to
And
be
I
really
wonder
cool.
too, because we're gonna be doing shadow working, but we're gonna be doing shadow working for witches, like
Yeah,
a little bit more specifically. Because I wonder too, and I don't know if maybe this might jog whatever it was you wanted to say before,
it might.
but I feel like once I started my shadow working journey, that's also when I found out that I was transitioning over into a gray witch.
Mm-hmm.
Like the more I dug down inside of myself, but the more I faced things that I didn't want to see before, that was when I truly started to understand, I guess, that to me at least, no emotion is bad, no energy is necessarily bad.
Mm-hmm.
So it's all energy, it's all emotion. It all makes us human. And I think that was about when I started realizing that you can't be love and light all the time, because then you're just not talking about the shadows and
Mm-hmm.
you're pushing them further down into the darkness and they
Mm-hmm.
are screaming to be let out, you know?
Yeah.
So do you
Yeah.
find that maybe that was the same for you or
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And I think the more shadow work I do, the less scary the quote unquote evil or dark things become. And definitely, I mean, I had a lot of stories around like tarot cards and oracle cards. Me. I mean, I use them all the time, right? Like, if you can believe it, like, there was this weird story in the back of my head that was like, they're evil, they're satanic, they're blah, 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 yada, yada, yada. And I had to really work past that because I'm like, no, I have evidence that proves that wrong. And once I was able to move past that, I was really able to get into my tarot cards and into my oracle cards and realized that that's a wonderful tool for me to access spirit world and to access my intuition and all that. And to kind of understand like what's going on here, what am I kind of picking up in my perception, and then delivering a message. And the further I have gone into shadow working, the more I've moved beyond being kind of an eclectic divination witch, because that was my identity for a long time, to really stepping into I'm a hedge witch. Like I'm able to do a lot of that spirit work and all that, but that would never have been possible if I did not confront the shadows about right and wrong, good and evil from a very Judeo-Christian background and kind of context over there. So, absolutely. You get witchier the more shadow work you do.
yeah, and it helps to really like it helps you to identify, like we said earlier, what
Mm-hmm.
stories are yours? Like
Yeah.
where do your true beliefs lie?
Mm-hmm.
And what do you not align with? Like what is something that maybe you are carrying from childhood, like, oh,
Yeah.
I'm supposed to be this certain way. And you're fighting that internally the whole time. Like, I don't want to be that. I don't want to be that. So shadow working clears all of that bullshit to the
Yeah.
side so that you know what you want to do and you're moving forward with your own thoughts, your own
Mm-hmm.
energy, all of that. And that's, I think the key to shadow working is getting to be your most authentic self. That's what the goal of shadow
Yeah.
working is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you might have like a hilarious result from that because I love the Conjuring movies. I'm just a huge fan. I love the first The Conjuring. I wish that the real Ed and Lorraine Warren were actually like Patrick Wilson and Vera Farmiga because I love those characters. But it's so funny because they always talk about like witches within this one very specific, like Catholic, heavy, evil perspective. And I was watching the movies over Halloween season and I just literally busted out laughing because she was like, witches do this. And I was like, no. So, get ready to laugh as you move through your shadow working journey as well, because you will kind of giggle at the things you used to believe were true, and you understand that those weren't actually your beliefs to begin with, and that you're in a different place now in a good way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Supernatural was the same way. Witches were
Oh,
only
yeah.
negative in the TV show Supernatural. So I always
Mm-hmm.
had to, I had to laugh, but then not only that, but the main witch, Rowena, is
Mm-hmm.
just an icon for all of us like real witches out there. Like if you've watched Supernatural, we're all like Rowena the Queen. We love her to death, and she was
Right.
evil. She was
Yeah.
horrible, and but we're all like, yes, yes, mistress, we shall follow you, Rowena. I would love it. Yep.
Amazing.
Yep.
So good. Was there anything else that we should cover on shadow working? I feel like we hit all of the big topics within it.
Yeah, the basics.
Yeah.
And then
Yeah.
definitely, if you want to dive down, we're going to be doing witchy shadow working in
Mm-hmm.
our little workshop. There's going to be some live stuff, some pre recorded stuff, lots of journaling prompts probably because shadow working has a lot of journaling in it. If,
Mm-hmm.
you know, it usually does at least.
Yeah. Yeah. You've got to.
Yeah.
I may encourage you to gaze into a mirror and talk to yourself again. So if you were in my Black Moon Lilith workshop, you know that was part of it there too. So,
Yeah.
because yeah, sometimes we have to like really be like, look, woman, you
Mm-hmm.
got to do this.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, it's my card this week.
Okay.
Aw, okay. NBC just called and they're making a cartoon about you.
Yes.
What outfit do you wear in every episode?
It's going to be stereotypical witch. I'm going
Oh, yeah.
striped leg, even though I don't wear it in real life. If
Mm-hmm.
I'm having a cartoon made about me, oh
Mm-hmm.
no, I'm stereotypical witch. So purple and black, leggings, striped
Nice.
leggings, a black dress. I'm going to carry a broom around everywhere.
Nice.
A purple and black witch hat that's kind of like floppy to the side.
So cute.
Yeah, no, I'm going full on stereotypical witch because it's going to have to be something about that's what my cartoon's going to be about. Yeah.
I love it. Yes, I would definitely be in like a broom skirt, prairie skirt kind of thing. Probably a tank top because let's be honest, that's basically all I wear. Um, all the giant jewelry, my hair as big and curly as it can be. Like Miss Frizzle ain't got nothing on the cartoon version of my hair.
Yes.
And yeah, I think a little witch hat would be cute too. It's kind of a hippie
How
witch thing.
how are you going to have the witch hat? The witch hat's going to contain the curls though.
Well, there's like the curls here, and then like a
Okay.
little like sideways hat.
I
Like
can see that.
it's jaunty.
Yes. I see that.
So yeah, you know.
I
I
love that
love
we're
it.
both going like stereotypical witch too, which
Oh yeah.
again, I think it has because I've actually seen people on the internet that get offended over the witchy stereotype, and I'm like, that's a shadow. You need to
Yep.
dive down because the minute you go down, like, why are you offended by a cliche stereotypical witch? The rest of us see it and giggle, or the
Yeah.
rest of us are like, well, I see where it could maybe have been offensive back in the day. I took the power away from it, so now
Yeah.
it's hilarious.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And from what I understand, the pointy hats were worn by women who were healers, so you could find them in the crowd and have them come help you. Yeah, have you not heard that?
I did not know that.
Yeah, so evidently in like I don't know, old England, yeah, the pointy hats were easily recognizable. It was a craft type, like a craftsman type hat, and yeah, I've also heard that there was a certain amount of like iron workers that would wear them because again, it's like you needed to find them in like a marketplace if your horse threw a shoe. So,
I did not know
and like
that.
that's how like some of the cauldron stuff and the fire
Yeah,
elements kind of got woven in. So,
that makes sense.
I know. So it's just like it's positive. I love it.
Yeah.
Well, thanks so much for listening today, guys. Make sure you follow us, guys, gals, theys, and all that. Make sure you follow us on Instagram, Two Witches Talking, and find us on Patreon, Two Witches Talking. Find us on YouTube. Wow, I had a brain fart there for a second. Find us on YouTube under the Ink Goddess Creations channel under podcast. And please send your witchy, spooky, fun stories to twowitchestalkingpod@gmail.com. And keep an eye out on our respective Instagram accounts and whatnot for our shadow working workshop coming up November 21st through 23rd. We would love to welcome you in.
Yep.
All right. Until next time, stay magical out there, y'all. Bye.
Bye.